Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first episode of the Movies That Matter podcast. I'm your host, Chris Flaherty. Thank you for joining us. Before we get into our feature presentation for the evening, just a little bit of background on the origins of this podcast. The whole brainchild idea popped into my head in about January when a student that I work with, a friend, asked me if I would be interviewed for her senior project, which was a documentary. And I said, what sort of expertise would I have for a documentary? And she said it was about what makes a movie a classic. And something just clicked in my head, and I can't believe no one had ever asked me that question before. And we talked for about, Liz, how long did we talk that day filming?
We talked for at least a half an hour, if not 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah. It was a great
conversation. That could have been a podcast in its own.
It could be. But anyway, and yeah, that interview and that documentary has just been in my head for months now, and here we are in the BCAT podcast studio. And if you haven't figured it out by now, my first guest is Liz Gillespie. Liz, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. I'm glad we could get this in before you head off to UC Davis. Liz is a graduate of Burlington High School, class of 2021, and she is heading to UC Davis to study Biomedical Engineering.
Yep.
With a minor in film, maybe?
Yes. I'm making sure that I can get in there. I've got the first film studies class already in, so hopefully we'll keep that train rolling.
Fabulous.
Yes.
All right. Let's get right into it. Liz, the film that you have chosen to discuss tonight is...
Big Hero 6.
Big Hero 6, the 2014 animated film from Walt Disney Animation Studios. Now, the winner of the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature, made a ton of money, but that's not what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about why Big Hero 6 matters to Liz and why it should matter to other audience members. So, Liz, first off, tell us a little bit about Big Hero 6. What's it about?
So Big Hero 6 is the story of this teenage boy who's trying to figure himself out. He lives in the city of San Francisco, which is, I think, the coolest city that could ever be imagined. Mm-hmm. He's very into robotics. He's like science a lot, and he's trying to figure himself out at the beginning of the movie, and he's in a lot of robot fights, and that's how he's like trying to get in. He's making money off of it. That's what he's doing. And he's being pulled out of it by his older brother, who's trying to like set him on a better path than trying to be involved in all these sketchy robot fights. And his brother's also really into science and robotics. And we're gonna talk spoilers, so I'll just keep going.
All right.
So his brother's trying to convince him to go to his science academy, I guess. It's college, you could call it.
It's like a college.
It's pretty much college. He's trying to convince him to go to this college, and so he realizes that his brother Hero, the main character, has a very cool invention that would definitely get him into the school. They're called nanobots. Nanobots. They're in the name. And he brings him to this seminar where he presents them, and they're very highly announced. Everybody at the convention loves them, and it gets him into the school. But at this convention, his brother dies in a tragic fire.
Yes.
It's a very heartbreaking scene, but continuing shortly after this tragedy happens, Hero is dealing with the grief of losing his older brother, basically his role model, somebody who got him into robotics and science. But what comes out of it is he finds his brother's prized project, Baymax, your personal healthcare assistant.
We love Baymax.
Baymax is one of my favorite characters ever written, ever. And so Baymax, being this very cheery and healthcare assistant robot, is trying to get him out of his slump.
Right.
And he finds that the nanobots are acting up, and Hero makes some comment of, what's going to make me better is finding out what goes on with this. And so Baymax takes it and runs with it. He takes the nanobots, and he goes around town, and they end up creating a superhero team out of what happens with the nanobots, because the nanobot is drawn to a supervillain, basically.
Yes. Or the supervillain has taken the nanobots for some reason.
He has taken the nanobots for himself, and he's using them to his own advantage, which is evil.
And then he gets involved with his brother's friends from the school, and they all become superheroes.
And that's the Big Hero 6 team.
The Big Hero 6 team.
And there's 6 of them.
There's 6 of them. And I had a Darwin moment last night where I was like, oh, hey, Big Hero 6, and the main character's name is Hero,
Yep.
so it's a double meaning. Wow.
To go off on a slight tangent on that note, I was thinking about this in my car earlier, where the main character's name is Hero, but they're all heroes, and part of the story is the fact that he is trying to be a hero, but mostly because he's looking up to his own hero, which is his brother.
Right.
His brother was his hero, and he wanted to be what his brother wanted.
Right.
He was inspired by Baymax, and then to go into the ending a little bit, he sees into Baymax, where he sees the process of how Baymax was made, and how special of a project Baymax was to Tadashi, his brother. And so he's just like, I need to honor my brother through where I am, my hero.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I watched the film last night, and it's a beautiful scene, because what Tadashi is saying to Baymax, it also applies to Hero in that moment, too, and their relationship, It also shows that you can make progress. Yeah. You see the beginning where Hero is not exactly being a hero to himself, where he's off doing sketchy alley robot fights. Yeah. But towards the end, he's becoming his own hero by looking into his hero. And you see that Tadashi struggled himself with building his prized possession. Yeah.
Building Baymax was something that he wanted, but he had to work for it to get there.
Right.
And you see Hero go through a similar struggle, but you see that his hero had to do it as well.
Yeah. No, it definitely, I think it resonates with a lot of people, not just your age, my age as well, to find your place in the world and to learn that some of your role models also had to work through it a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah, and Tadashi, that's kind of like the 2010s Mufasa moment a little bit. Yeah. Even right down to Mufasa's in the clouds, Tadashi is in Baymax's, for lack of a better word, stomach. It's a monitor on his chest.
Yeah.
But I did watch it last night. It's a beautiful film. Disney's first and only superhero film, surprisingly.
Yeah.
Considering, well, I think maybe because they bought Marvel that they just don't need to make their own in-house superhero movies. But this is also based on a Marvel comic.
Yes.
Which is crazy.
I didn't even know that until I think several years after this movie came out. And I think part of what made this movie came out in 2014, and I believe the first ever Marvel movie I'd actually watched was in 2012 when The Avengers came out.
Nice.
And The Avengers is also one of my other favorite movies that I could probably talk about in depth as well, very easily.
You can come back for another one.
Especially with you. We can talk about that movie in the future.
Just do 25 episodes on each Marvel film.
Easy.
That's a whole nother podcast. That's a separate podcast.
But, so that was sort of, I remember watching the Avengers film the first time, and I was like, this is beautiful. I love it so much. And then seeing Big Hero 6, because I was still in elementary school when that movie came out. In 2014, I was going from elementary school to middle school, which is another reason why Hero kind of resonated with me so much. It was like, okay, so I'm going from this very small elementary school to something a lot bigger. Yeah. I need to find my place in it. But continuing with the whole Marvel and superhero thing, I didn't know that it was such a big thing, and for a very long time, I didn't know that this movie had a post-credit scene just like Marvel.
It does.
I didn't know that until I watched like a YouTube video several years in the future, because I didn't know that post-credit scenes were a big thing yet.
That's fantastic.
So I didn't know that was a thing, and then I remember watching it, and I was like, oh my god, not only does it have a post-credit scene, it really is a tried and true Marvel film, because it has a Stan Lee cameo in it as well.
Exactly.
And I remember when I found that out for the first time, I was having like a total fangirl moment. I was like, yes, that's awesome. I was so psyched, because it just connected two things that I'd really found that I loved so much. I already loved Disney movies going into it, and then I had a newfound love for Marvel movies after watching the first Avengers movie. So combining the two worlds was just so magical, and realizing that they really were just kind of a tried and true mix of the two was beautiful.
Yeah, and I can't believe we still don't have a sequel yet.
I was mad when I found out that they were going to a show instead of on Disney XD as opposed to a movie, because I think that this I hadn't watched the show yet. I probably will at some point just because I want to see what it's like. Yeah. But I think that this, as a movie, it works itself really well into being a movie. Yeah. I think it should have been given a sequel to properly become a movie as well. Yeah. it could have been its own franchise. You could make it into a Captain America, Thor, Iron Man trilogy if you really wanted to.
You absolutely could. No, there's a lot of potential there. I mean, the film is, I'm sure you heard about your English class, the Joseph Campbell hero journey formula.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, hero, he literally goes through that. You know, he's stuck in his world, and then there's like the call to action, and then there's the reluctance, and so on and so forth. But no, there's tons of potential there because he is achieving his potential. Now we sort of don't really see the other characters achieve their potential.
Exactly.
They're servicing his arc.
Yeah, you're introduced to a really cool group.
I don't know what that was.
That's okay.
All right.
We're introduced to this really cool group of people, and they're also, it's very interesting because it's a very diverse movie as well. Yes. It was kind of before a lot of some of the other really diverse movies because, like I said earlier, it takes place in San Francisco, a combination of San Francisco and Tokyo. So it sort of has a Japanese element to it in the movie, as you can see from the two main characters who also have some Asian roots in them. You have a character who is black but isn't like totally all black stereotypes. You have a character who her roots are Latina. That isn't, but again, it isn't shown as stereotypical. It's she is who she is, and that's just part of her. You have one or two other Asian characters as well. You have your, if anyone is stereotyped in this movie, it's the token white guy.
Fred. T.J. Miller's Fred. The school mascot janitor turned superhero.
Exactly.
We're not going to talk about T.J. Miller. No, but you're so right because you hear it all the time. Representation matters, and it does. And what you hear nowadays is it's so important for kids to see superheroes that look like them.
Yeah.
But no one really talks about seeing Disney characters or animated characters that look like them.
And if they do, it's usually in references to the princesses.
Right.
It's
absolutely.
not towards other Disney characters.
Yeah, it's always the princesses. It's never the side characters and stuff. But it's an ensemble film.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like Disney hasn't done a ton of ensemble movies like that recently.
No, they've definitely trended into this thing where like two main characters go off on an adventure, like a buddy road trip movie.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and especially with some of like the newer princess movies where you've got like of the ones that came out in the 2010s, you've got like Tangled and Frozen and Moana, and even if you look at Moana, it is a diverse movie, but it also falls into the Disney formula of the other princesses as well. Right. So while she looks different and is of a different culture, she's still very similar to some of the other characters that you have.
Right.
Which is another reason why this movie really resonates with me. It's one of the only Disney movies in my mind that's of human characters that isn't going into the magic route.
Yeah.
It's one that really promotes science, which was interesting to me as somebody who's going into science in their future. It was, hey, look at these really cool characters and what they can do with science and what they're about to do with what they just have. Like, these people went and got an education, and now they're going to go save the world.
Yeah.
Like, that's such a cool thing that you don't see in Disney movies.
You don't, no. And honestly, I was watching last night, and knowing that you're going for biomedical engineering, and I don't know what biomedical engineering is. You can tell me when you get home. But watching the movie, I was sort of like, yeah, I can get why Liz connects with this. Yeah. It's
one of I remember very specifically liking also the two female characters as well. Yeah. It's just like, hey, you got women in STEM in this movie, which is not something that Disney promotes all that often. It's they've started recently promoting women who are powerful and strong, but you have these two very different female characters as well, who are both kicking butt, doing science as well. And I remember there's a scene in the movie where Hero is like, everybody's in their own bind, where they're all like they're caught. And then Hero's just like, try something else. You can do it. You can get out of the situation you're in.
Look for a new angle.
Look for a new angle. That's right. That's the quote. Yeah. And I remember Honey, the one with Latina roots, just Honey, looking at her, at her periodic table bag, and then just typing in a formula, and then like blowing up her situation, and then getting out of it like an absolute boss. Yeah, that will always stick with me because that's just so cool. She just like knew science and was like, I'm going to get myself out of this situation, which is such a cool thing to see.
What's the other one? What is it?
Go.
Yeah. And she always instead of man up, she says woman up in the entire movie. And it was the car chase scene where she's like, "That's it," and she pushes the guy out of the
get out of the way. We're gonna do this.
Yeah, no, they're bosses. They're bosses.
That's such a good scene. I forgot about that scene.
Yeah,
such a good one.
Backtrack a little bit. How did you first learn about this film? Did you see a trailer? Did you hear about it from word of mouth?
Yes. So I believe 2013, year before it came out. I think I saw it as a trailer before I went and saw Frozen, which is a movie I could. I'm gonna mention later, but
okay.
I just I gotta keep that in mind. I had something to say about that.
Perfect.
I remember seeing the trailer before it, and it was very specifically like the teaser trailer.
Yeah.
The scene where he's in the police office.
Yes.
And it's him trying to convince him that he saw the supervillain guy, and Baymax is just there, like, pulling tape, trying to make sure he's not deflating.
Yep.
And I remember thinking, this is hilarious.
Yep.
The scene is still funny to this day.
Oh, it's hilarious.
And I remember watching that, and I was laughing so hard, and I was like, I have to go see this at some point. And, like I said, I was in 5th grade going into 6th grade when this movie came out. And so I went and saw it with a friend of mine who actually moved away shortly after we saw this movie. So I think that was one of the last movies we went and saw together, which gives it even just that much more emotional impact. It's like, this is one of the last memories I really have with this friend from elementary school that I haven't seen in a very long time. I've texted her here and there, but I haven't seen her in person in years.
Wow.
So, yep, I saw this movie in theaters, and I loved it then, but I think I loved it even more watching it back in the future.
Yeah.
Because it was just like, the jokes were still funny, the scientific part of it meant more to me, and the fact that it wasn't just like, it's a Disney movie, but it's not like Disney formula movie.
Yeah.
Which was what really resonated with me. It was very different.
Yeah.
And going back to the Frozen point, I feel bad for this movie in a way.
Because it came out
Because it came out the year after Frozen was still in its peak.
Yeah.
Where it's like, this movie is so cool and could have really resonated with audiences if it didn't come out in the peak of Frozen popularity.
Even a year after, Frozen still overshadows it.
Even this movie could have come out today and people would have still thought Frozen was like...
I feel like the Frozen fandom's died down a bit.
It has died down a lot.
Like, I know we got a Disney Plus short or two last year, but it's definitely not what it used to be.
It has died down a lot. And I think that if this movie came out today, it would have gotten, like, huge reception.
Oh, yeah.
I think just the fact of the timing of when it came out was unfortunate for this movie.
Yeah.
Which didn't give it as big of an audience as it should have. But it's still... I think it's still got a very good reception to it. Even without it being... People were still like, oh, yeah, Frozen's still... the better Disney movie, even if they're not really thinking about this movie in itself.
You can't really compare Frozen to Big Hero 6.
You can't really.
Two completely
it's just
different,
mostly timing.
two schools of film. I mean, the Disney catalog is very diverse, and I will say, like, I said this year, like, I was going to start watching everything from Snow White all the way up to the last one that came out in chronological order. Obviously, I cheated for this podcast.
That's okay.
That's okay, but... I mean,
go back to it. Watch it several times.
Yes, I will. Once it's past, it's off the list. I can go watch it whenever I want.
Yeah, there you go.
But there's always like the same, like, it's almost like the Marvel films. They have the same like DNA, but it's different.
Yeah.
Different ingredients and different styles and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes down to it's like personal preference, Frozen or Big Hero 6, and
I'm not comparing the two in terms of like. Movies, how good they are. Like, I'm not slamming Frozen. I think Frozen is a phenomenal movie.
Oh, it's delightful.
I absolutely agree with I agree with most of the popularity it got. I don't think it was as big as it should have been, but I still think that at its core, this movie was something special.
Oh, it absolutely
And I think that Big Hero 6 was also something special, but it got overshadowed by a different special. Right.
And that was a tough year for animated films. What came out that year was... the Lego Movie, How to Train Your Dragon 2, I forget what others, but it still beat the Lego Movie for the Oscar.
There you go.
I mean, like, subjectively, I love the Lego Movie, but I
do too. I haven't watched that movie in years, but
neither have I.
I remember that movie very well.
But I think it's definitely found its place within Disney history. I think a lot of it has to do with Baymax.
Yeah, definitely. Baymax has really become a huge symbol in Disney.
Right.
And I think that he's kind of become a new popularity thing.
Yeah.
Like, I remember I went to Disney in 2020 in
I was gonna ask you
February.
about this.
Went to
Yeah.
Disney in February of 2020. What a time to be at Disney.
Wait. I know you went to Disney. I didn't know you go to Disney then.
I went to Disney in February of 2020.
Wow.
I went
Right under the wire.
I went 3 weeks before everything got shut down.
Mm-hmm.
There was not a mask in sight. What a time to be alive.
What a time.
What a time. I remember thinking about it once, just total sidetrack. I was in line and I was like, if COVID were here, it would get me. And then it never occurred to me for the rest of my vacation.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's fine. You're safe. We're all safe.
I haven't got COVID, so
Yep.
I'm all good.
We're all good here.
Knock on wood real quick. But to go back to what I
Yep.
was saying, I was in Disneyland, and I remember on our last day there, it was with my parents, and one of our Christmas traditions that we like to do is whenever we go out and do something, we like to get a Christmas ornament from it, or at least
Love
one
it.
a year.
Love it.
And I remember walking around one of all the gift shops on Main Street, and I walked up to the Christmas ornament section, and my parents were like, pick whichever one you want. Like, and there was a bunch of them that I really liked. There was a lot of Mickeys, a lot of Minnies, a lot of classic Disney characters, and I saw one with Baymax, and it was him. He had a little Santa hat on. I think he was holding some presents in his hand. And he was fully wrapped in Christmas lights.
That's amazing.
And neither of my parents have seen this movie, but I pointed to it and I went, that one. We're getting that one.
And they're just like, okay.
And they were like, yep, sounds good to me. Because they know this movie means something to me, even if they haven't seen it.
Have you ever met Baymax? And I say meet, like, you know. Have you ever met Baymax at a Disney park?
I didn't. I really wanted to, though. I know he's there, but I'm like, I gotta look for him. I gotta find him. I think whenever the next time I go to Disney is, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
I gotta find him.
Last I checked, he was in Epcot. That was in 2018. Yeah. He does allow you to hug him, but that was 2018.
He can hug with masks on. He's a robot. He's your personal healthcare
He's
assistant.
my personal healthcare
He's our
assistant.
personal health. Speaking of Baymax, I want to talk about kind of some of the I'll go with symbolism themes towards him. I think he's one of the most important Disney characters for the reason of he promotes health and happiness above everything else. Where it's he is one of the only Disney characters that I can think of where a lot of them are promoting family and love, and you can see those are huge themes throughout.
Yeah.
But it's in his name. He's a healthcare assistant. You don't see Disney really hammer in how important health is on top of family as well.
Yeah.
Which was such an important thing to see, especially in a movie like this where grief is a huge part of it.
Absolutely.
Where you can see how he's going to each of the characters and it's like, I want to help you. I want you to be the best version of yourself. And most importantly, I want you to be healthy. Like, I'll never forget. I joke about this constantly with people. On a scale of 1 to 10, rate your pain. I think about that a lot. I think I have a note of that drawn up in my phone somewhere. But it's like, that's such an important thing where it's like you have somebody who's not just like, everything will be okay. It's, how are you right now? Genuinely. How are you, and how can we make that better?
Yeah. No, I think you hit the nail on the head right there. And also, I think a big thing, I was watching it last night, is when he downloads the, he puts his hand on the computer screen. The, it's like, it's mental health or coping strategies. I forget exactly what he said, but that's huge for an animated film, for a kid's film.
Yeah. Because he's promoting physical health, he's promoting mental health. He can tell that Hiro really took this hard.
Yeah.
Like, Tadashi was a huge part of his life, and to have that just, like, ripped away from him, that's even in a time where mental health wasn't talked about nearly as big.
Right.
That's clearly a huge thing, and especially to Hiro, who's clearly trying to cope. You have somebody who's actually promoting his physical well-being because you can see that he's like stumbling around, he's like feeling sick, he's not getting up very much. He can tell that there's a mental aspect to it and a physical aspect to it, and he's trying to help him through his pain. And I know the scene itself is very funny. It's a great scene with him like falling around like, I'm fine, and then things will like hit him in the head or he'll fall over. Like, it's a really funny scene, but when you think about it, there's a lot of mental health themes in there. As somebody who's, and I don't want to say that Baymax is like a parental figure, but it is kind of like somebody who Hiro doesn't have. He's his brotherly figure at that.
Right. Yeah.
He's filling in for Tadashi. He's the one that's really looking out for him.
Yeah.
He's his hero.
No, and what is the line that he always says in the movie? It's he's always asking Hiro, like, will achieving this improve your... Yeah. Like it's Baymax's way of saying, like, is getting revenge going to make you
this really
feel
what
better?
the answer is?
Yeah.
Is that going to make you better?
Right.
And one of the ones that, like, stands out to me towards the end, I don't remember the exact quote. I really should, but I don't. It's like the, we do not fight, or something towards the end, where it's like, he's, like, going in for, like, the big punch right at the big villain, and he's just like, nope, I don't do that.
It's not in our programming.
Not in our programming. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Where it's, he's a lover, not a fighter.
Right.
He really is trying to be this heroic figure. And it's not quite a Batman situation where it's not like, I don't kill, but also I'm looking to make people better. And by destroying someone else's health, that's not going to save anything. Right. You have to, like, think about everybody's mental health in that case. And that really is what brings health in total. Yeah. If you hurt someone else, then they're going to need the mental health. Right. They're going to need the healthcare assistant. So it's just passing it off at that point. Yeah. His job is to make everyone feel healthy. And, it's not in our programming. Yeah. He's not going to hurt you.
And then you have... Hiro's story is kind of like... It's parallel to the villain story, because the villain, he also lost someone. Yeah. Spoilers. And we're seeing how he's processing it in not a very healthy way. Yeah. And then Hiro's journey is also running parallel to that. So the villain is, and I think this is what makes great villains, they're a dark shadow of what the hero is, or what the hero could become.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Where it's, you see that there is a way to save him from his own darkness at that point, when you see that his daughter is still savable. Right. Where you can tell that, and it also, going back to the parallel, you can see that Hiro is totally lost Tadashi. Physically. He is no longer there. But he knows that with Baymax, he has him in spirit, so he doesn't totally feel lost. With the villain, you can go in, you can save her. You can save her daughter. And that's what they did. And Baymax being like, I'm going to save your health in order to save her health as well. Him being like, all right, we're going to save two people at once. Two people that are both in the same situation, and this is the best way to do it. And even if it means risking the one person, or not person, because he's a robot, but the one figure who's really the hero in this case. He's like, it's not just him sacrificing himself like most heroes. It's, I'm doing this to save the person that I have to save, but also I'm going to save the villain at the same time. Yeah. Where it's, both of them can be saved if I save this person. And then he does it. And you can see for a moment where it's like, uh-oh, what's going to happen? Is he going to save them? He saves both of them at the same time. Yeah. Which is so just... Yeah. Yeah.
It's a rough scene.
It is.
But the last words he says to Hiro, and I think is the whole message of the movie, he says, Hiro, I'll always be with you. And it's about, coping and, the legacy of our heroes and our loved ones that, move on from our lives, either to another astral plane, what have you. That's my delicate way of saying it. Yep. It's got a lot of adult themes. It's... it's got that Disney, Walt always said, like, we have to make animated films that apply not just to kids, but to adults as well. And I think Big Hero 6 definitely follows that formula.
This movie definitely can relate to anybody. I think this movie has a lot of different aspects to it, or it can relate to a lot of different people with anything. It can relate to anybody who's grieving. It can relate to a lot of people that are interested in science. It can relate to a lot of people who are interested in education. It can apply to people who just want to break out of their shell and really feel more confident in themselves. You can think of... I've always told people, if they ask me, if you were to get a tattoo of anything, what would you get? And I've always said that I would get the Baymax face, the dot line dot.
Nice.
Because I think that that's something that, like, should really stay with people. Yeah. He's this beacon of health and happiness and wanting everybody to be okay. Yeah. And that's just something that, like, if you always have with you, like he wants, that's such a powerful thing to have.
Yeah, the big thing that Tadashi says to him is you're going to help a lot of people.
Yeah.
And that's his whole arc. That's his whole journey.
Tadashi is like the true... I keep hitting the mic.
There you go.
Thank you. He's the hero figure that's influencing all of these other people, who's really driving them to be their own heroes. Where it's just... Tadashi in his life, he never was like, I have to be a hero. He just knew that this is what he needed to do. And that's why he ran into the fire to begin with.
Someone has to help.
Someone has to help.
Yeah.
And that's what Hiro ends up realizing as well.
Right.
Somebody has to do something. No matter how bad the situation is, he can help because he knows that the spirit of Tadashi, who somebody who was always helping, would do.
Yeah. That's big. That's big. You know, it's saying
hero.
like, hey, you have a responsibility to your neighbor, to your fellow man. Wow, this film's got a lot to say.
It does. That's why I knew that this was a good one to talk about.
Yeah. It's a lot more than a funny robot, folks.
Exactly. There's a lot of good comedy in this
there's
movie
there's a lot of
like,
comedy in here.
Just to like lighten the mood a little bit.
Yeah.
This movie has some great comedic moments as well.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why, but I think about Harry Baby a lot. Just the line Harry Baby.
I was going to say, that's the line I remember.
That's such a well-executed line. The guy who voices Baymax did a fantastic job with this movie. I think Baymax as well, on top of being this absolutely positive symbol, he just has some of the best lines in the entire movie. With him deflating in we jumped out a window.
Yeah, we jumped out a window. No, Harry Baby is stuck in my head ever since the first trailer.
Exactly.
And you know how like you watch a movie and like you pick up on quotes and they become part of your like daily vernacular. So when he's like suiting Baymax up and then it zooms out to see him in his like his beta like armor, and then Baymax just goes, "I have concerns." I'm just like, oh, so that's where I got it from.
I have concerns. One of the ones that I think about a lot is I am not fast.
Yeah, that's another good.
I say that a lot too, especially if I'm not processing something where somebody will say something to me, I'll be like, what am I am not fast.
I could say it. When he's first like questioning Hiro and he's like, will like solving this issue help solve your pubescent mood swings? And he just says it in the most deadpan, cheerful voice.
Such a perfect, his delivery of everything is excellent.
It's the most delightful burn I've ever heard in a Disney movie.
It just works so well. It
does.
Perfect.
It's perfect. And you know, I think Baymax has definitely like found his place like among like the genie and Timon and Pumbaa as like these side characters that have really become more popular than the protagonists.
Yep.
That
I would
have
agree.
Sort of elevated the legacy of their films.
Yeah, he's definitely the symbol of this movie. Any real merchandise you see from this movie, it's all Baymax. It's all very simple merch. It's always just like something white, and then it's got the dot on it.
It's easy.
It's his face.
It's easy to make Baymax.
Perfect.
It's perfect.
It's perfect. And that's why I got a Christmas ornament of it.
I've never seen a Baymax Christmas ornament.
I'll show it to you sometime.
Okay.
When I come home for Christmas, I'll send you a picture of it because I love it.
Have I ever told you I'm addicted to ornaments?
I feel like you have told me that.
Yeah, it's that and Funko Pops.
Yep.
Yeah.
that I knew about.
Yeah, well, now they're making like Hallmark Funko Pop ornaments. So they're Hallmark ornaments, but they look like Funko Pops.
Ooh, oh man. This is gonna feel your addiction
so someone just said
levels.
like, all right, let's mess him up twice.
Yeah, let's really hit him.
Let's hit him where it hurts. Tangent. So we talked a little bit. What are some of your favorite scenes or moments from the film? I know we've touched on a lot, but
I will say, I know you briefly mentioned it, the car chasing scene.
The car chasing scene is great.
That's such a good scene for so many reasons. It's obviously it's very funny, and it has a woman just being like, "All right, move out of the way. We're," and then it's just like her being totally reckless in a car.
Yeah,
like that's not something you see in a Disney movie, really.
Not at all.
No, it's very much a Marvel movie adapted for the Disney formula, which is beautiful. Oh yeah, another one of my favorite scenes that we haven't talked about is the scene when they're in Fred's house.
Yeah. And
that's when the moment that it kind of clicks, like, we need to become superheroes. I think that's just such a powerful scene because you can see that Hiro is kind of like hit a point where he's like, I want to give up. He's like, I don't think that this is going to work. I'm not going to be able to do, we're not going to solve this, we're not going to get my nanobots back. Everything's kind of gone.
Yeah.
But and that's all the grief hitting him again as well. But this is also a moment where you can see that his friends truly are friends. Not just Baymax, all the other characters that we touched on earlier. They're all, and even though they're not directly his friends yet, they're all Tadashi's friends, they all help him as if they were Tadashi.
Absolutely.
Where they know that he's hurt, they need to help him the way that Tadashi would. Even if he himself isn't Tadashi. And then it always just like, Baymax just goes in for the hug, and he's like warm. He's like,
it's like hugging a warm marshmallow.
Yeah, exactly. I want to hug a warm marshmallow. Like I want to be a part of that scene. And then everyone just like joins in as well on top of him.
Yep.
It's such a good scene. And then Fred's like, look at this action figure. Look at this action figure. This is what we're gonna do.
Fred really is like the group cheerleader.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and there's a reason he's the school mascot.
Yeah, he's a school mascot. He's doing his job.
Yeah.
And he's also kind of like, not to give credit to the performance of T.J. Miller, it's more to the script, I think.
Yeah.
He's kind of like a vessel for us as audience members who like are superhero fans and stuff.
Exactly.
So
he's the voice of the viewer.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's like, I want to see you guys succeed. I want to push you guys through this, and it's like, okay, we're gonna go get them.
Yeah, and who wouldn't want to be like a group of superheroes with your friends?
Exactly.
That's another thing that connects to like your audience.
I remember trying to like draw this movie like later on because I was like, I want to be a part of this. I remember I thought Go-Go's suit was so sick the first time I saw it. I was like, I want to roll around on those discs. I want a Captain America shield, basically. I want to do that.
Yep.
I was like, how do I do that? I want to do that. Because so, like, even just, like, little elementary school me is watching this going, I want to do that. That looks like so much fun.
It's absolutely fun. Who wouldn't want to, dress up as a bunch of superheroes with your friends?
And, yeah, exactly.
And just pretend to be superheroes.
And then just go do something.
Do something.
Anything.
Just get snacks.
Even that. Yeah. You could just do that in the most, like, fun way possible. You just roll up, you just get some snacks.
Yep.
You can go, like, anything you want.
Just on your way to Comic-Con in your cosplay.
Yeah,
stopping at 7-Eleven for some refreshments.
I want a big gulp, man. Just go in and do it yourself.
But you're talking about the designs and stuff. I think those are some of the most unique character designs.
Yes, absolutely. And I think this movie, the animation of the movie, really plays into how well the movie is executed as well.
Yeah.
I think if they tried to make this as like an actual live-action Marvel movie, it wouldn't have worked as well. I think it still would have worked, but just differently. Because I think some of the really... You could do a lot of CG with it, but I think the idea of having it animated really adds to how well the movie plays out.
Yeah.
Where you have... Baymax works super well with your animation.
Yeah.
The costumes, if you tried to make those live action, you would definitely try to play them down a little bit. You try to make them a little bit more subtle. So I think being able to have it in an animated format and then just going all out on it, like that's awesome. And then I think it's the 3D animation and how detailed the animation is as well.
Yeah.
And I think one other thing that I haven't mentioned yet is the animation of the city is awesome.
The design of the city is amazing.
San Francisco is such a cool place, which also continues to resonate with me. I'm going to a place that is close to San Francisco.
That's right.
I've been to the city of San Francisco so many times. I absolutely love the city. It's fantastic. My parents and I were talking about it the other night, and it's kind of like the Boston of the West Coast. That's how they've described it.
That is amazingly accurate.
Right?
Yeah.
And so it feels like a different place that I would almost call home. And then having the element of Tokyo to it kind of gives it sort of what makes it more magic.
Yeah.
Where it has the elements that you call home to it, but it adds a different element to it where it's like, wow, I want to be there. Yeah. So you feel like it's a place that you know, but it also feels like a place that you want to be in as well. And also another scene that I think is fantastic and really plays to the animation as well is when Hiro is on Baymax's back and they're just flying around.
I was going to talk about that. I love that scene.
That's such a good scene.
Yeah.
And then just going up to the top of the bridge.
Yep.
And then just like looking out and
and they're sitting on the blimp towards the sunset. Yeah. I remember I was watching that, like, that's my favorite shot right there.
It's a beautiful shot, and I don't think it would have worked almost as well if it were live action.
Right.
You can compare it to like what the Harry Potter shots look like when they're flying around the castle on the broom.
Yeah.
Where it's similar, but it doesn't feel. It feels magic, but it feels even more magic when you're looking at it in the realm of animation.
Yeah.
It works super well.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Animation definitely gives you more possibilities to bring like
exactly
your worlds to life, and that's a lot of why Disney has stuck with animation for so long.
Yeah.
Like Howard Ashman, he's the lyricist he did the songs for Little Mermaid, Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast. He was a huge proponent of animation and musicals because musicals are much about the stage and stuff, but with animation like the stage is how much you can draw.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want with the stage. And I think that they did a fantastic job of it in this movie.
Yeah.
And continuing with the animation, I think the animation when they're in the seminar with the nanobots originally, and just watching Hiro walk around very confidently present the nanobots, those are so satisfying to watch. Just watching them like follow him around and do tricks. Like you can animate that in CG and you can make it look good, but it looks incredible in the realm of actual like fully 3D animation as opposed to trying to add real elements to it.
Yeah.
It looks incredible in there.
Even like the water.
Yeah.
The water looks incredible.
Exactly. I love water animation.
Water animation, it's getting too good.
It really is.
Like, we're not going to go back to Frozen. We'll go back to Frozen for a little bit. But Frozen 2, when she is trying to run across,
yeah.
Like, that's real water.
Yeah.
You can't trick me.
I like the movie Moana. I don't think it's any of in any way my favorite Disney movie. But I remember watching that going, the water in this movie is gorgeous.
Yes.
That was my favorite part of watching
I want to go to
movie.
that beach.
Oh my god,
that fictional beach in Moana.
Oh, yeah. I want to just be where that water is.
Yeah.
Someone take me there. But yeah, a lot of the visual elements of this movie work really well with it as well. And I think that's something that really makes this movie special as well.
Yeah. Tangent on the tangent. There, not to promote a Frozen versus Big Hero 6 Civil War. My favorite Easter egg in the movie is when they're doing the training montage and Baymax fires like his rocket and it blows up a statue.
Yep.
And like you have to pause it to see, but the statue is Hans.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
And then also in the police station, you can see there's a wanted poster of Hans in the background. And then, this is, I think, my favorite Easter egg in the entire movie. I don't remember at what point this comes in, but there's a scene, I think it's when they're flying around, but it's like under some sort, I don't remember where it is, but they're in the city. It's like a very busy city, and there's a ton of detail that's underneath them that you can't see. There's a statue of Olaf in it.
Is there?
Yes.
What?
I don't remember what part in the movie it is.
I'm going to have to watch it again. Or I'll just look it up.
I'll find I can find the picture of it and show it to you. But I know it's there. It's like a little statue, and it's like very small.
Okay.
And it's a very blink and you'll miss it moment. But I saw it in a video at one point.
All right.
So I know it exists, but I don't remember where in the movie it is. But there's a lot, since it came out directly after Frozen, they're kind of paying homage to it a lot.
Yeah. Or they're taking a dig at it. I
think the blowing up Hans is absolutely a dig at it. And having the wanted poster of him. They're really like throwing some shots at him.
We gotta come out after the Frozen movie?
Yeah.
Darn.
They added those in after.
So you guys are done, right? Just 1 second.
Not quite.
Just gotta animate a quick
how much money
thing.
did Frozen make today? Yeah, we're gonna use that to animate in Hans in this movie.
It's what, the 5th grossing film of all time now? Hold on.
Gotta put it in there.
Gotta toss in another Easter egg.
Yep. How many of them do you have? More. Needs more. Speaking of Easter eggs, another one of my favorite ones is when they're in Hero's bedroom, on the photo wall, there's a picture of the hairy baby cat wearing a Stitch costume.
That one I have heard of and I've never seen.
I've seen pictures of it. I know it exists. I don't remember exactly where it is, but I know that even if it isn't on the wall exactly, there is promotional images of the movie with the cat wearing Stitch.
And I think the cat is an Easter egg in itself.
Is it?
I feel like I read it a long time ago. I think the cat is a leftover model from a canceled like Disney film. I think it was called like Lorenzo. I don't know, but it was
I was gonna say that sounds like what Luca was supposed to be.
Well, maybe another tangent. I guess the film was like an Alfred Hitchcock type movie where. Oh. Don't quote me on this. Do your research.
Okay.
Either the cat witnessed a murder and was framed for it, or the cat was part of the murder, like an unnecessary accomplice.
I see how Disney managed to scrap that one.
Yeah.
Though I would have watched that.
It's a little too Alfred Hitchcock.
I think I would have watched that 12 times over, though. That's what this podcast would have been about, that movie. That would have been incredible. I want to watch that.
If you look up some of the canceled Disney animated films, you're just going to, like, pull your hair out and be like, why didn't you make that?
Why is this not a thing? Please.
I mean, there's some that are like, yeah, you made the right call. But,
yeah,
like, that one, like, put it back.
Yeah. That's a 2025 release.
2025. Lorenzo, or the cat who saw too much. Back to Big Hero 6.
Yes.
We're approaching the 1 hour mark, so I'll just get back to some of the final questions.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, we've talked a lot about it, but what do you think some of the important messages or themes of the film are?
Like we said, I think the biggest themes of the movie are coming from family, health, and I think, here's something a little different. I think that every Disney movie has, in some way or another, it promotes the message of love. Mm-hmm. And I think this movie does it in a different way than other movies where it's not just, like, it's not romantic love. It's a familial love, but not exactly the way that, not to get Frozen again, but Frozen does it between Anna and Elsa, where it's clearly, where you have these two sisters who clearly love each other, and that's what their true love is. Mm-hmm. But in this movie, it's sort of a love loss type thing, where it's, you can love something, even if it's not quite with you or exactly what your family is. You can love it as if it is your family. Where it's, Hero now sees Baymax as not exactly his older brother, but a part of his older brother that he loves. And so as a result, he finds a way to love this robot. And if that sentence was taken out of context, that could be a whole WandaVision situation. But he finds a way to feel a connection to this robot, and it is love. It's a familial love. Right. He sees his family in it, and he loves it, and he sees his new group as a family. And these are the people that have looked out for him. These are the people that have treated him with respect. These are the people that have pushed him to be the best version of himself that he can be, and they're always there for him. They'll always be with him. That's what a family should be. And so even though he's lost part of his family, he now sees this new group of people as a family to him. And that's a very powerful love in itself.
It's the family that we have, and then it's the family that we find along the way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Where he sees them all at the beginning as just kind of acquaintances, then kind of friends, and then he sees them all as a group, where he sees them all together. It's not just individual, you're cool, I'm not close to you, I don't know you very well, you knew my brother, so I don't know you very well. It's all, even before Hero kind of joined the group, you can tell that they're a very close-knit group of friends, the ones at the college, with Tadashi. They're all very close to each other, no matter what their difference is, and they're all in their way. They're all pushing each other to do better in everything they're doing. They're all pushing each other's experiments. They're all making jokes with each other. They're all hanging out with each other. They're all doing these things together. They all trust each other. They're all rooting for each other.
Yeah. Family doesn't always mean blood. It means, the people that are there for you, the people that prop you up and got your back. Yeah. Why do you think, or what do you think allows audiences to connect with Big Hero 6?
I think anybody in any situation can see themselves in any of the characters. I think especially in Hero. I think there's so many ways to see yourself in Hero. Just, I can't say that I've ever lost my way going into sketchy robot fights, but I've definitely been in a place where it's like, okay, how do I see myself continuing? How do I make myself more confident in what I can do? It's, you see yourself as kind of this scared little kid who doesn't know what they're doing, but towards the end, you find the things that you're passionate about. And that's another thing about this movie. This movie promotes passion. This movie promotes finding the things that you love. Not just in terms of, like, being around people you love or you're given this talent. It's, he's working for what he wants.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, I like robotics, but his brother introduces him to how he could be even better at it. And so he throws himself at it. He becomes passionate about it. And he really engulfs himself in it towards the end of it. And you can really see it through the scene where he's trying to upgrade Baymax, where he's putting his heart and soul into it. He doesn't 100% know what he's doing, but he's passionate about the project that he's doing. And that's something that anybody can find themselves in, where they can, it doesn't, you can come from a place of tragedy, you can come from a place of just out of the blue fun. It could come from just absolutely anything, but you can find something in anything where you become passionate about it, and then you can throw yourself in it. And even at the very baseline, you can see yourself in Hero through his passion for things.
Yeah. Wow. Enough said there. And I guess I'll make this my final question for you and for any future guests. Why does Big Hero 6 matter to you? We've talked about it a lot, but if you could summarize it really quickly.
This movie matters to me because it's, like I said, it promotes passion, and it promotes two things that I've really seen, or I really love them, and it's Disney and Marvel collaborating to make something beautiful, where it's, even if it's totally overshadowed by another movie, it's really fought itself through. It's made its place in Disney history. It's something that you can connect with. It's something that you can see other people in. It's so diverse, and you can add so many different messages in it. It's rooted in reality, in fantasy, in anything. You want to be a part of the movie. And it's something so beautiful with how it's executed that anybody who watches it can throw themselves at it and genuinely love it.
That's it right there, folks.
There you go.
Yeah.
And that's why movies matter.
That's why Big Hero 6 matters. And you can find it streaming on Disney Plus, and you can locate it on demand, Target, video and Blu-ray shelves everywhere. Wow, we've almost filled the whole hour.
I'm proud of us.
This is amazing.
That was good.
We definitely are reinforcing that theory that you promoted in your senior doc about the personal connection between movies and stuff.
Exactly.
Wow, Liz, I can't thank you enough. This is awesome.
Thank you for asking me to join you.
Yeah,
Very
no,
glad.
I hope you come back for more episodes.
Absolutely. I've got other movies I could talk about for an hour.
I know you can. I know I can. It's not about me, though. I'm just the host. Folks, definitely go on bcattv.org. Look up Liz's senior documentary, a cinematic masterpiece. It's where the idea for this whole podcast came, and it's just a great piece of young filmmaking, and she did an amazing job on it. And she's also got another documentary coming out. Well, it is out right now. It's airing on BCAT right now, but
yay.
We got to get it on YouTube. Liz, you want to tell us a little bit about that one?
So my most recent documentary, I spent a very long time on it, longer than I originally planned to, but I'm glad I spent the time to do it. It is about the evolution of sports at Burlington High throughout the 2020-2021 school year, coming from a place of having the spring sports season in 2020 canceled to being able to bring sports back and how they had to be modified, and then where they ended up in spring of 2021.
You definitely put the effort into it. So
yes.
It's definitely worth a watch, folks. She spent half the year on it.
Which one? The sports one?
Yeah, the sports one.
I spent at least 3 months on it.
Okay, that's like half a year.
That's
half a year in COVID time.
That is a year in COVID time.
But yeah, go watch these documentaries. They're amazing. Liz, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I know you're going off to school, like literally in days.
Yep, Saturday.
Thank you for taking the time to do this.
Of course.
Good luck. I know I'll see you again soon.
Of course. You know you're getting more memes on the daily.
Please keep sending me memes. The memes get me through the day. Folks, thank you for listening to the first episode of Movies That Matter. Keep watching what you love. Don't listen to the critics. Don't look at the box office. whatever you connect with, whatever you enjoy, just keep watching it. Entertainment is subjective, and that's not a bad thing. I've been your host, Chris Flaherty. We'll see you next time. Good night.